The Modern Horizons spoiler season is in full swing and it's no joke. From crazy counter magic to common legendaries to the comeback of Dredge as a tier 1 strategy in Modern. I mean, we're talking about everything today. I've selected a few cards that I think are really interesting from the spoilers from today. And of course, if I've missed any, then let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you are going to break some of these cards. And of course, if you want to see more content like this, leave a like on the video and subscribe for future Modern Horizons 3 spoiler reviews. Let's go into it from a card by card. The first spell on my list is Strict Serenade. 1 mana for an instant counter target artifact, creature, or planeswalker spell. Its controller creates a 2/2 bird creature token with flying. Now, notably, this was a spoiler from Pleasant Kenobi, so shout out to him for having this. And I mean, this is really the opposite of Swan Song. Swan Song is 1 mana to counter target enchantment, instant, or sorcery spell. They create a 2/2 swan. And honestly, just as powerful as that card is in formats like CDH and EDH in general, Strict Serenade is going to be an instant classic as well. You really want to think about this card as a kind of defensive spell. This card doesn't really proactively counter much that you're looking for. So if you're looking to go off on a turn, it's not really going to protect you from that because those spells aren't really instant. Those spells aren't really artifacts and creatures. Those are instant and sorcery. So if you want to protect your combo, then you're really looking for Swan Song. But if you're looking to stop what your opponent's doing from stopping you, stopping Ashiok's or other artifacts like hate pieces, then Strict Serenade is going to be really powerful in that sense. So kind of thinking about the duality and playability of each card, and artifact, creature, and planeswalker, it's just really powerful in a set promoting colorless synergies. We're going to see Affinity see a huge comeback in current Modern right now. So having access to a card like this that is honestly potentially main boardable is really powerful. And really the question comes down to, is this better than something like Stern Scolding? Stern Scolding countering a creature with power or toughness 2 or less, I should say. And so there's a lot of things that card can counter, and I feel like this just slots into that same thing. Adding to someone's clock doesn't really mean much. I think the trade-off is insane because you get to counter something like a Primeval Titan and then give them a 2/2 bird. I think in a lot of situations, the card that you're countering is going to be more powerful than the 2/2 bird. And obviously, you're not looking to counter like hate bears or just really small creatures unless they have crazy immediate effects like ramping them out. But I think a card like this is going to be absolutely powerful. And again, potentially main deckable alongside cards like Spell Pierce to really change the Modern metagame and what it means to be a creature. Heck, is this card good enough? Let me know in the comments section down below. Is this card good enough to main deck just to stop turn 1 grief? I don't know. Hard creature counter spells and hard artifact counter spells just really hard to come by. I think the versatility is crazy. Of course, Spell Pierce is just really valuable in Modern right now for protecting your creatures from removal. But I mean, heck, why don't you just counter their opposing creature to start with instead of having the removal for it? I don't know. Strict Serenade, really powerful from that perspective. Now, Cephalid Colosseum. Ooh, this is the coming of Dredge. Now, of course, Endurance is in the format. Of course, Rest in Peace is in the format. Of course, again, just insert powerful graveyard hate spell is relevant in the Modern format, but Cephalid Colosseum comes in untapped, and again, that threshold is what you're looking for. Obviously, you have to feed your graveyard a little bit. Threshold requires you to have 7 or more cards in your graveyard. Again, not that hard for Dredge to do, but it can be, because not necessarily that off of one spell they're going to get to 7 cards in their graveyard. It's going to take like 2 spells or 2 activations of certain cards to really feed that, and then what can happen is you can essentially just dredge. Ideally, the nuts is you're dredging like 5+ 3 times because you get to draw 3 and then discard 3 cards. So not only do you get to get rid of some of the cards in your hand that are potentially dead, but you get to dredge multiple times off of something like Cephalid Colosseum, and it comes in untapped as a land, which is really powerful. And being in blue, I mean, this would likely force more blue spells, potentially force you to play more blue spells, but does this potentially work alongside a card like Brain Surge to, draw 4 cards, so dredge 4 times, place 2 cards from your deck on top, and then you can potentially just dredge from there, dredge the cards that you put back, putting back cards that you can later feed in? Or is this also opening up the avenue of Flare of Denial as a way of protection, where you are having to play blue creatures potentially that you could sacrifice to a Flare of Denial and hold up as counter spells? Or is Dredge going to be this all-in combo deck that can now, with Cephalid Colosseum, be so hyper powered that it can play around the interaction that exists in the format right now, especially stuff like Endurance? It's a little bit harder to predict that your opponent can have at any time. So again, Cephalid Colosseum, definitely going to be bringing back a lot of graveyards right now. And so especially as a mill player, I would recommend that it may not be the best time to be playing mill, because a lot of folks are going to be answering decks like this coming up on the ladder right now. You're going to see a lot more endurances, a lot more just anti-hate, a lot more burn in uncertain metagames where people are forcing things like this. But Creeping Chill is about to make a big comeback with Cephalid Coliseum in Modern. It's just absolutely insane to me. And along the same lines, I'm actually surprised that this card is not legal in Modern. I did not know that at all. This is a great popper card as well. But target player draws 2 cards. You can flash it back, pay 3 life. Like, I mean, just a flashback on this, right? You're milling this over in some type of graveyard-based value strategy. Heck, even in Dredge, just having the ability to just draw through cards for 2 mana, paying 3 life, you know, just dredging 2 cards just off of that is going to be really powerful. And the pay 3 life doesn't even really matter when you consider the Creeping Chills in your deck, just being able to make up for that life loss. I mean, Cephalid Coliseum and Deep Analysis are going to be really, you know, just kind of painful effects. So burn might be just more powerful if Dredge is going to be good in the format. But these are just options that now exist in Graveyard, are going to be powerful options, heck, on the front side and on the back side when you flash it back. But just that flashback for a very cheap cost is going to be really good. Not necessarily that it's going to be played in Dredge, but it could be. And just having so much more value in your graveyard for that cost. Again, if this card is good, burn is good. So there's going to be some give and take when it comes to that. So next card, we're looking at a card like Skoa Ember Mage. Mind me while trying to download non-WebP images, but Skoa Ember Mage, common legendary. Look at that. It is a common legendary. Woo, popper removal stonks heading down. We're talking about, you know, destroy target non-legendary creature, cast down in popper. Just seeing some downtick. It might be the start of the end for cast down. Now, is Skoa Ember Mage necessarily that playable? Probably not. It's a 6 mana 4/4. You know, when it enters, it deals 4 damage to anything, and then you can discard another card named Skoa, so it has to be the same card, and sacrifice 2 mountains to deal 4 damage to any target. I'm forgetting the name of the card off the top of my head, but there is a burn spell that you can sacrifice 2 mountains and cast it for free to deal 4 damage to any target, and that's going to be the card that this is relatively reminiscent to. So let me know the name of the card in the comment section down below. But again, is it necessarily playable? No. But it does open up a lot of design space, because now this is the first legendary common. And, you know, how much longer till we get a common planeswalker? You know, it just, again, with design being pushed in sets like this is really relevant to a card like Cast Down, and just really relevant to the future of cards that really care about legendaries, that maybe this is playable enough because there are cards that care about legendaries, that boost legendaries, that tutor for legendaries, whatever for legendaries that come to popper. A card like this is opening up a lot of design space and a lot of playabilities for different cards entering the format, which is why I think it's really relevant to mention for all you popper folks out there. Next up is Amped Raptor, and this one I'm going to give a shout out to. I'm going to link the tweet down below where I kind of noted the combo here, but Amped Raptor, red in 1 for a 2/1 creature dinosaur. First strike, when Amped Raptor enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy counters. Then if you cast it from your hand, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may then cast that card by paying the amount of energy equal to its mana cost rather than paying its mana cost. So notice how the exile cards from the top of your library, they don't go back into your library. They're just permanently exiled. So there's this fun little combo running around right now, and I'll also link the tweet talking about the math about this, so it's very low, but approximately 2% of the time you could open with this and then a Thassa's Oracle into your hand, because Thassa's Oracle costs 2 mana, you get 2 energy, you play this, you play Thassa's Oracle, and then you pretty much just like exile everything, right? Like, and then you just win the game. So you just play like 52 lands, Amped Raptor, Thassa's Oracle, like, I don't know, like, you just keep playing these or something. Like, it's not a definite win. It's just kind of funny. It's a cool combo. I just thought it would be relevant because in that sense, the cards that it's exiling, you know, it's exiling non-land cards, and it's doing that permanently. Those cards aren't being returned. So maybe there is a world where you're able to kind of exile your whole deck, and you're only left with lands. Maybe there's some type of combo deck you could build, and Thassa's Oracle for the win. But it's not exactly Demonic Consultation. It's like Demonic Consultation at home. But again, I just thought I would mention it because it's absolutely hilarious that that is a possibility. Again, very low chance of it happening, but it's worth mentioning. One of the last cards that I want to mention here, probably the last card that I want to mention here from today, is Wirewood Symbiote, green, and for a 1/1 Creature insect, return elf you control to its owner's hand, untap target creature, activate only once each turn. So this is just one of the classic staple elf cards that exist in older formats like Legacy and Vintage. Of course, Legacy and Vintage have a lot more powerful cards available to them that, you know, make elves work, right? There's a lot more going on in elves in those formats. Is this going to mean that elves is coming back in modern? Probably not. I mean, just in a world of Orcish Bowmasters where elves are going to have a lot of 1/1s and need to draw cards to really get anywhere, I don't think Wirewood Symbiote is really long for this world in Orcish Bowmasters format. But again, it's a cool card. It's just that it's not fast enough with the tools that we have in modern. And heck, don't make me start playing Plague Engineers in my sideboard, okay? If Elves comes back, I'm playing Plague Engineers in my sideboard. I'm playing Knight of Souls Betrayal in my sideboard, okay? There's so many great ways to stop decks like this. It's nice that Elves has tools, but I mean, look at the tools that Merfolk is getting this set, just with the Lord, potential free counterspell as well. Like, there's just so many things happening with other archetypes from Modern Horizons that, I don't know, this is a cool thing for Elves, but it's not gonna revolutionize anything. But that's going to be it for my discussion of today's Modern Horizons 3 spoilers. Now, as of the recording of this video, there might be another insane card or two that comes out. So let me know what you think about those cards in the comment section down below. But of course, there's so many like MDFC, singular cards that are coming out, Eldrazi that have been spoiled. I want to hear your thoughts about those as well. I've kind of some mixed thoughts about everything and anything, but a video can only contain so much. So again, let me know, sound off in the comments down below. Let's talk Modern Horizons 3. Let's talk about the commons, the legendaries, everything. I want to hear your thoughts down below of the most insane set from Magic this year.